Hello, hello. We have a new chapter of Boku no Hero Academia. This is 244 Recommended Reading, which is quite the dull title for a chapter that starts so excitingly. We see our kids out here on their internship working under the, for better or worse, number one hero in the world right now, Endeavor. Uh, there was some sort of incident. I think it's still a little mysterious what's going on. Some ruffians or something have emerged. And Endeavor immediately took off, told them to hang back. They hadn't even gotten to the office yet. But they're not going to hang back. We have to keep up. To watch, we have to keep up. Yeah. It's often running before we even heard the sonic boom that goes beyond just speed. So Endeavor has some sort of sense, I guess. He somehow saw some other signs. This manga hasn't really done anything in the way of kind of spiritual energy type sensing the way that a lot of other manga have. You know, One Piece with observation haki and Dragon Ball and Naruto and all sorts of series do things like this. But as far as I know, they've never tried to suggest anything exists like this in the world of BNHA. So I think this is more a comment just on Endeavor's expertise, that he can somehow discern these situations well in advance. Okay, so Endeavor going really fast now, looking like a little Potaboo, you know those Mario enemies, the lava bubble, hopping across the street. The dark stars collude and conspire, they must be halted. The land will soon be cloaked in darkness. Flee, good citizens. I am he who will destroy the root cause of this darkness. That's right. There was this really, this strange, cult type group is causing this particular ruckus. And based on the structure of this story, I feel like this is kind of just an episodic incident. These guys are just going to be kind of fodder to show off Endeavor and to get the kids involved and maybe to lead to some sort of conflict between them. But I don't know, at the same time, they've made it certainly quite intriguing. This star servant person. What's going on with them? And their ability to control glass, perhaps? Absorbing all the glass from the windows of the office building. It looks like floating around on levitating orbs of glass. So just free reign over glass. That's a pretty cool power. I also like this guy in the suit, this office worker that just has a little antenna. What a fun world. I love the whole structure of this page, actually. Something about, they do this shot a lot in anime and manga, where you have a fight or something that's already kind of been established happening on the outside, and then you cut to the interior of an apartment building or an office building or something, looking out the window at a distance at the thing you're already seeing. I think that looks so cool. I don't think I'll ever get tired of that one. And of course, the cliche is then to have them smash into the window. But you actually have so many options in terms of kind of your comedic timing with this, because you get that little breather of just the peaceful interior of the building, and then anything can happen. Oh, that's so good. Okay, anyways. So, it's the Enlightened Fallen King. With a title like that, you gotta show up in more than one chapter. I don't know. This huge glass orb. It's cool, you can see all of these buildings have just been skeletalized. They're all missing their windows. It's actually pretty freaky. Imagine that happening. It reminds me of, this is kind of a tangent. Please forgive me. It's a very nostalgic memory for me. When I went to go see Kanye West in 2013, there had just been a gigantic ice storm in Toronto. And what had happened was all of the window panes and all of these gigantic high-rises had been coated in ice, and now one by one they were falling off, these huge thin window-sized pieces of ice, and they were fluttering down to the street where they would just smash this huge loud explosion of ice. And it was dangerous. There was roads closed off, there was a lot of power that was still out. I remember we had to like navigate through various streets to find ones that were open, like basically only streets that had some sort of canopy or didn't have these big buildings nearby could be left open because the ice was just too dangerous. And just that contrast of seeing them up there, like crystalline, glinting in the light, fluttering and spiraling, and then just smash. Of course, that's just ice. It wasn't glass. But it made me think, like, what if all the windows were falling out of these buildings? Like, what if this was all glass and all of these buildings were just being ruined? It felt like a very apocalyptic night. And then we got to see the Yeezus tour, which was a pretty amazing concert. Anyways, Herald of the Dark Lord. So he smashes this huge orb down into a mostly empty looking street. So I don't know what this guy's plan was, but whatever. It's not going to get there because our flaming bullet just smashed into it. And it looks like this made the man's nose bleed, which is strange, but okay. Flashfire Fist smashes into the glass sphere and then explodes from within it. Pretty badass. Control glass, huh, old man? That's a fine skill you've got. What I'm not getting is why you thought you'd get away with it in my territory. See, well, here, this is kind of cool, because this is him demonstrating the logic of the symbol of peace type stuff, where he's basically saying, like, I am genuinely confused as to why you'd even try this, knowing that I'm here. And I think he's wondering, like, did we not properly advertise that this is the territory of the #1 superhero endeavor? Were you unfamiliar with the notices we've put up? His costume here is pretty crazy too. This, I guess, is his fully equipped fighting form. And here we see our little office denizens fleeing. His endeavor has just expelled molten glass all over the street. This guy's burning up too. He flies away. Oh, this is such a cool shot. Wow, that's such a cool shot. Okay, so it shows like how quickly this old man can move, because we get a shot where this is like a master class in how to depict speed in manga. I think this is worth breaking down a little bit. Okay, so we've got this panel of the old man flying down into the alley, and there's like a pretty big swoosh. Okay, so that swoosh is kind of like the distance he's traveled within this panel. Okay. It kind of is brain hurty to think about, you know, like what is manga actually depicting and stuff. But you can say that he went all the way from off panel down almost into the alley during this frame. And then we can also see this guy over here swinging the sword, okay? And in the time, in the same duration of this panel, he only swings the sword like about a foot. I don't know why he's even swinging the sword. What is his plan? But it doesn't matter because it's just here to highlight the speed. So his sword only goes like this, right? We can see it because of the motion blur. During the panel, it only goes like this far. Whereas the other guy moved like 20, 15 feet, something like that. Whoosh. So you can see, even though doing this is so fast, that guy's even faster. Okay, and then we move to the next panel. All of this was just actually to set up the next panel, because who really cares how fast he's going? The important thing is that Endeavor is going faster. So, here we see the same kind of swooshing movement. So Endeavor is going the same distance during this panel, okay? But when we look at this other guy swinging the sword is basically now just like stationary. There's no other movement in the panel, meaning that because these things are like moving in this scene, that this panel depicts a much shorter amount of time than the previous panel, which means all I'm trying to say here is Endeavor, go fast. The use of the dialogue here, I think, also really does a good job showing the speed. The way that Endeavor's like fire swoosh trail thing blocks whatever the heck this sword guy is saying, and the way this other panel, this dialogue of someone shouting "evacuate the area" in reference to Glass Geezer here showing up. The way it like swoops out of the alley. Oh, this is just fantastic. There's been some great paneling in this chapter. Okay, so now we see him fleeing down this alley. Endeavor catching up immediately. He's coming. Uh-oh. So this was all part of the plan. This weird gang of hobo-esque doomsday cultists or something ready to attack Endeavor as soon as he pops out. Oh, but Endeavor has his own minions. The counterplay is real. Alright, this is a cool shot too. Again, I don't need to break it down in the same depth, like you can understand. And when I gave all of that big explanation, it's not like I actually thought that people reading this would think all of those things. It's more just that subconsciously, this is the impression you get, is that kind of sense of speed and the hierarchy of the speed that you're witnessing. And the reason that it works so well subconsciously is because it actually has all of these little details. And this panel, I think, does that extremely well as well. This awesome page turn here. But yeah, I'll leave it as an exercise for the reader. Whoa! My God, there's a lot of layers here. Yeah, it's like this whole chapter is just about this depiction of hierarchy of speed. This usage of the idea of durations of panels and stuff. Oh, that's so cool. Hawks is so neat. I love this one panel of his feathers flying in too, right? Because that represents an even more transcendent speed. Seemed like you were in trouble, Endeavor. Seemed that way, didn't it, Shota? I wonder if, just due to his father being a pro hero and kind of being around that culture, Todoroki and Hawks have met before. It certainly seems like they have. That's the familiarity I'm getting here from Hawks. But I'm not quite sure what he's referring to. It seemed that way, didn't it, Shoto? Like, no? It seemed like he was totally fine. And even the kids really weren't planning on helping. They just wanted to be able to watch. So they just wanted to be able to get there as soon as possible. And then when they saw the ambush, they were like, okay, well, I guess we can do this. But I had no sense that that ambush was supposed to look like it would be devastating or anything. It was just some guys with like sticks. Like Endeavor would literally just burn those things to a crisp as they were swinging towards him and not notice. What is this ash landing on me? Okay, what's going on with Hawks? You're supposed to contact me when you're in town. I'm not. I mean, I was just passing by. So mysterious. This Hawks thing. So many layers. Okay. Star Servant and these other guys getting arrested. We got it from here, thanks. That one is the root cause. His shining light beckons the dark, precipitates our demise. Okay, well, first off, pretty ominous. I mean, I don't really think there's anything to this kind of raving, this apocalyptic raving. I don't think there is actually going to be some prophecy whereby Endeavor brings about the doom of the world. Or if there is, it'll be in like kind of a metaphorical sense that we look back later and we're like, whoa, this kind of lines up with that crazy old man was saying. But it's not going to be as a result of some supernatural force that this old man knows about. But even more so, even if it doesn't amount to anything, even if that's not the direction the plot goes in, just the fact that Endeavor is hearing things like this, you know, it must shake him to the core. This is a really good shot of him just kind of, I don't know. He's like keeping up a facade of something, which is inscrutable, but then we know it's a facade. What's underneath? I don't know. I love, okay, but putting all that aside, I love Midoriya trying to introduce himself to Hawks here. That's so cute. You're the kid who smashes up his own fingers, right? I like the idea that even though Deku is so much more on like the brainy, analytical side of Shonen Jump type heroes, his reputation is that he's just like an absolute psychopath that like badly hurts himself in battle, goes way too far all out all the time. Just takes like huge self-sacrificial plays and stuff. Yeah, that's how he's known. You're the kid who smashes up his own fingers, right? Tsukuyomi filled me in. Should I could have worked with that kid again. Down in my hometown with my sidekicks. Got too much going on to be there. I kind of feel bad about it. Back. That's classic. That's classic. I like it. Oh, what else would you want? Have you read this book, Endeavor? Well, that's weird. So like, am I an idiot, or have they actually really tried now to make it ambiguous which side Hawks is on? Like, I don't know anymore. How many layers? Like, when he does something like this, what layer is he pretending to operate on, and then what layer is he actually operating on? I don't know. So he's got, of course, the Destro famous book. After those townspeople in Daika fought for their lives, the book's been getting even more attention. So we talked about that kind of expected outcome. Yeah, like when freedom is granted only to a select few, the burden necessarily shifts to everyone else. I highlighted the must-read parts. Sorry I have to beat around the bush so much. Only way I can get the message across right now. Okay, so I think what Hawks is doing is trying to signal to Endeavor, hey, I need to be like outed as a villain, because then the villains will like trust me more because I've lost my heroics career, but secretly I'm still a hero. It's not like something about that, something like that. But like, what? And the fact that he's saying it in front of these kids and stuff too. It's all just so weird. And the cops like just left. Imagine Endeavor. A world where we've got time to kill. Please pick up on what I'm saying, number one hero. Yes, that's right. That's what he said during his little lunchtime with Endeavor. Way back after that amazing hero rankings chapter. And at the time, I thought we were getting a good sense of his character. But every new development, I think I understand Hawks less. Please pick up on what I'm saying, number one hero. I can't do it. I can't pick up on what he's saying. I mean, I can pick up on lots of things. I can interpret this in many different ways, but none of them I feel confident about. Okay, well, that's it for that. An interesting chapter. Very interesting. So we will have to wait for another week and see what the heck is going on. Okay, bye-bye.